I've always been fascinated by alternate depictions of reality, or attempts to actually depict reality in a way that we can actually understand. And two of the most interesting illustrations of this I've ever come across are very similar. One that a comparison that's actually been made very frequently lately between, of course, the movie The Matrix and Plato's allegory of the cave. In both cases, there are prisoners that are entrapped in illusion, and everything that they see or perceive is something that has been imposed upon them by outside forces. And when they come out to actually see reality for what it really is, it blows their minds. It's completely different from what they're used to, and for a while they are completely disoriented. In the cave, a prisoner goes back down, and or is sent back down, re-imprisoned, and he attempts to communicate with his fellow prisoners who are very about what he just perceived, and they're very disturbed, and they might even actually kill him. Or do him harm, or just go, eee. So these are interesting depictions of attempts to see reality for what it actually is. To go beyond the limited perceptions that are provided to our minds by our senses. Our senses can relay information from the quote-unquote outside world out there, but that's all that they're really doing, is they're sending information to our minds. Their transmissions are not the information, or are not the reality itself. I might be watching television and seeing a bunch of people on a TV screen, but I'm not actually seeing reality for what it is. I'm not actually seeing the people themselves. I'm seeing a TV image of this. I'm seeing a two-dimensional depiction of a three-dimensional event. So just because I see something doesn't mean that it's actually there. What I'm seeing is the way that light plays upon things, and my interpretation, my physical body's interpretation of what light is and how it works and how it actually illustrates what's out there. That's kind of the way that I perceive, that I interpret the illusions perpetrated upon the prisoners or the people that are stuck in their little pods in the Matrix and the cave, respectively. The Matrix and the cave have something else in common. They tend to see the whole thing in terms of a big conspiracy to keep the prisoners in the dark. Personally, I think that that's kind of just a plot device. The way that it's explained, it's not explained at all in the cave why the people are doing this, that are running the cave. And in the Matrix, it's a really lame plot device, if you ask me. It just sort of says, well, they need energy, they need to turn human beings into dry cells, yada, yada, yada. Doesn't really work, but that, in certain interpretations of these stories, tend to enforce people who believe in a god, the master puppeteer, who's actually creating all these illusions for us to perceive. So, I think that these are very, very useful metaphors for reality. But even then, the allegory of the cave is just an allegory, and the Matrix is just science fiction. But the themes in them are very, very useful, or very fascinating in terms of our ability to perceive phenomenal reality. If it's possible to perceive it accurately, or if accuracy can even be applied to perceiving reality. Interestingly, a lot of religions have dealt with this. Christianity has the story of the person who actually does see reality for what it is, comes down to earth, Jesus Christ, of course, attempts to explain it to humanity, who promptly crucify him. The ancient classical depiction of this is Socrates, who's figured out reality, and of course they make him drink a double hemlock with a twist, ending his days pretty rapidly because he's shaken them up too much. They don't want to actually have their simplistic point of view shaken like that. It disturbs them to the point where he becomes a blasphemer. He becomes a person guilty of sacrilege, and he is to be killed. Secondly, this whole business of seeing reality likely to blow your mind is another theme in both. Going down the rabbit hole is the equivalent of being jerked up into the sunlight in the cave. This actually is dealt with most effectively, in my opinion, in the Hindu Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, where the archetypical human being, Prince Arjuna, asks God, Krishna, to show him reality. And like the cave, it is depicted in terms of blinding light that stuns, disorients, and horrifies, ultimately, the everyman, Prince Arjuna. This actually is perceived in many other ways, or illustrated in many other ways, from Logan's Run to the original Star Trek movie, where Spock tries to mind meld with V'ger, the ultimate intelligence, and he gets this sudden flash of everything that has ever happened or everything that is real, and it drives him pretty much crazy, knocks him out. Science fiction is full of depictions of reality like this. The Matrix isn't the only one. Religion is full of this kind of thing. Buddhism, even Islam, and Christianity, if you read the scriptures a certain way. Interestingly, this is one of the reasons why I don't really want to call myself an atheist or a theist, because a theist will do something that I find too many atheists do, and read Scripture literally. Now, if you ask me, when you read Scripture literally, you automatically make it worthless. A fundamentalism of literalism kind of negates the actual message behind these sorts of things. If you read the Gita literally, it just basically says, do whatever your station in life says and don't worry about the consequences. If you read the Bible literally, well, we know what, if you read the Bible literally, what it says. And if you do so, you actually miss so much of what the actual hidden message is. It's in there, if you want to see it. Now, of course, a lot of theists and a lot of religious and atheist people would completely disagree with this interpretation of Scripture or of science fiction literature or whatever, which is fine. But it's essentially why I think that hard atheism or hard theism, fundamentalism, are both kind of missing the point. The point is not to say who's right and who's wrong. The point is to not fight as the prisoners did in the cave after the guy came down and started talking about reality, but to find out what reality really is. Thank you.